Is the healthy fish dinner you are cooking for your family actually a toxic cocktail of chemicals and foreign deception? You walk into the supermarket or your local fish and chip shop. You see signs that say fresh catch, wild caught, or iconic Australian brand names you have trusted for decades. You assume you are eating clean, healthy protein from our pristine Australian oceans. But here is what the seafood industry does not want you to know. That fresh fillet might have been frozen for 2 years in China before it hit the display cabinet. That premium salmon is likely dyed pink to hide its grey flesh. And that iconic local catch is probably a bottom feeder from the polluted Mekong Delta. I spent weeks researching supply chains, aquaculture reports, ownership documents, and laboratory warnings about heavy metals. What I found is that the Australian seafood market has become a dumping ground for inferior global products disguised as local favourites. Let me take you through the worst offenders. Number 1. The flake in your fish and chips. This is an Australian institution. Friday night fish and chips. You order the flake because it is boneless, mild, and traditional. But here is the dirty secret. Flake is shark meat, the species called Gummy Shark. Sharks are apex predators and they live a long time, so they bioaccumulate toxins from everything they eat. Food Standards Australia New Zealand warns about mercury levels in shark meat. Mercury is a neurotoxin. One standard portion of flake can contain more mercury than your recommended weekly intake. Yet it is sold without any warning labels at the local chippy, often to families and older men who are already at risk of cardiovascular issues. You think you are eating a light, healthy meal. You are essentially eating a heavy metal sponge soaked in batter. Number 2. Tassal and Huon Salmon. These are the two giants of Tasmanian Atlantic salmon. You see their logos everywhere. They sell the image of pristine Tasmanian waters and healthy omega-3 fatty acids. But let's look at the ownership. Huon Aquaculture was bought by JBS in 2021. JBS is a massive Brazilian meat conglomerate, the largest in the world. Tassal was acquired by Cooke Inc, a Canadian seafood giant, in 2022. So our Tasmanian salmon industry is now controlled by Brazilian and Canadian multinationals. But the real scandal is the colour. Farm salmon is naturally grey because they do not eat the krill that wild salmon do. To get that rich pink colour, they are fed synthetic Astaxanthin, a petrochemical derivative or pigment extracted from yeast. They literally feed the fish a colour chart to make the flesh look appealing to you. Without it, you would be looking at a grey, unappetising slab. Intensive farming in Macquarie Harbour has also led to massive dead zones due to oxygen depletion. This is industrial farming, not wild fishing. Number 3. I&J and Birds Eye value products. Look at the frozen fish fingers or the crumbed fillets in the freezer aisle. Read the fine print on the back. You will often see minced fish or fish portions listed at around 50 to 60%. Just like the meat pies we exposed, the rest is filler, batter, thickeners, vegetable gums and starches. And the fish itself? It is usually hoki or Alaskan pollock, caught by massive industrial trawlers, shipped to China or Thailand for processing, frozen, and then shipped to Australia. By the time you heat that fish finger up, it has travelled more miles than you will in a lifetime. You are paying premium prices for what is essentially fish waste glued together with starch. Number 4. Basa fillets, often labelled Pacific Dory or Cream Dory. This is the cheap white fish you see in the deli section or at the pub for the $15 lunch special. It is almost always imported from the Mekong Delta in Vietnam. The Mekong is one of the most polluted river systems in the world, receiving industrial runoff and untreated sewage. To keep the fish alive in these intensive farms, antibiotics and chemicals are often used. In Australia, retailers sometimes call it Pacific Dory or Cream Dory to make it sound oceanic and premium. It is a marketing trick. You are eating a bottom-feeding catfish raised in questionable water quality simply because it is cheap. If the menu just says fish or catch of the day and it is cheap, it is Basa. Number 5. Imported thawed prawns. You walk into the supermarket deli. The prawns sit on ice and they look fresh, but then you spot the tiny tag that says thawed for your convenience. These are usually Vaname prawns, farmed intensively in Thailand or Vietnam. They are raised in high-density ponds that often require chemical additives to prevent disease outbreaks. Unlike Australian wild-caught prawns, these lack that crisp texture and sweet flavour. They can be mushy and watery. Why? Because they are often treated with phosphates to make them absorb water and increase their weight. You are paying prawn prices for water weight and chemical preservatives. And again, you are bypassing the world-class Australian prawn industry to support foreign industrial farming. Number 6. Seafood extender and crab sticks. This is the hot dog of the sea. There is absolutely no crab in a crab stick. Surimi is a paste made from pulverized white fish, usually the offcuts and bycatch that could not be sold as fillets. It is mixed with sugar, egg whites, vegetable oil, and red food dye to mimic the look of crab meat. The sugar content is alarming. Some brands contain more sugar than protein. It is a highly processed, sugary, dyed fish sausage that has no place in a healthy diet, yet it is a staple in seafood salads across the country. So what should you actually eat? First, buy wild-caught Australian fish. Look for species like flathead, whiting or barramundi that are specifically labelled wild-caught and product of Australia. Australian fisheries are some of the best managed in the world. Second, find a local fishmonger. Avoid the supermarket pre-packaged aisles. Talk to the monger. Ask them what came in today. If it smells like the ocean, it is good. If it smells fishy, walk away. Third, for canned fish, look for pole and line caught. Brands like Safcol are owned by the South Australian fishing industry. Support brands that support our fishermen. Fourth, if you want prawns, buy Australian tiger or king prawns. Yes, they cost more, but you are eating pure protein, not phosphate-soaked chemical water. Here is the bottom line. We live on an island surrounded by the best oceans on Earth, yet we are importing chemical-laden sludge from overseas and letting foreign multinationals own our premium salmon industry. Do not let them feed you dyed grey fish and tell you it is premium. Read the labels, check the country of origin. If this video opened your eyes, hit the like button and share it with your mates who love a fish barbecue. Subscribe to Crisis Report Aussie. Ring that notification bell. Tell me in the comments, have you ever felt sick after a cheap fish meal? Your family deserves real seafood, not industrial imposters. Together, we are going to hold these companies accountable. I will see you in the next one.